Hey, Catholic Divas. Today we're going to talk about why you do what you do, the Catholic temperaments, motivation, and identity. Have you ever caught yourself doing something you didn't want to do and then be like, why did I just do that? Well, come on into the podcast and we're going to talk about why you just did that.
Welcome to Cycles and Sanctity, the podcast where Catholic women learn to think clearly, feel deeply, and live confidently in the truth of who God created them to be. I'm Mama Jane.
And I'm Mama Vicki, your Catholic womanhood coaches. We believe womanhood is a gift to be embraced, never managed or met with shame. Our cycles are God's design, a tool for self-knowledge, deeper prayer, and holiness.
We help women heal mentally, emotionally, and spiritually so they can live with clarity, peace, and confidence.
If you're ready to trust your body, understand your interior life, and walk more freely with God, you're in the right place.
Good morning, Mama Vicki. How are you?
Doing great today. How are you, Mama Jane?
Well, the throat's just still not healing, but that's okay.
Maybe this is your new voice. Hey, Divas, get used to the new Demi Moore version of Mama Jane.
Demi Moore.
I know, probably half. You know what? I actually mentioned Demi Moore around young nurses the other day, and they're like, "Who's that?" So sorry if I'm missing the mark, guy. But we're talking about that sexy voice we're all looking for.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, well, listen, this is one of my favorite focuses on the temperaments is motivation. Because, and let me just kind of tell you a little story about how once you figure out the motivation. When I was a freshman in college, I was visiting you guys in Washington State over Christmas, and I'd been running for about a year and a half, and I had a buddy in college that she had done long cross country running in high school. So she and we used to run after school in the afternoons. But then when I was at your house, it would take all day. I just remembered, like, your mom had surgery, so it's one of the reasons why I went out there. And she'd be sitting on the couch. I'm like, oh, I gotta go run. She'd like, well, go run. It's sunny right now. I'm like, okay. And I wouldn't do it. And I wouldn't do it. And it would take me hours. And your mom would get so frustrated with me.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I look back on that memory, I realize, like, oh, I know why I wasn't motivated. I didn't have anybody to go with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't fun to go by myself.
Right. Sanguines are not motivated by unfun things.
Yes, but also a lot of times sanguines aren't fun to do things by themselves.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
They want to, they want a partner. They want a playmate, right?
Yes, a buddy.
Yes, a buddy. And so collaboration, that's really what the word is. And when I went through this as a coach, it really helped me. And then the success story, the breakthrough story was I was working with, Marty Langlaw and talking to her. Like, my goal was to get to the gym because I'd had this gym membership for over 2 years that I hadn't gone, like, it was like $20, but still $20, like, I'm not going. Even if I went like twice a month, it would have paid for itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like trying to figure out, like, what are the thoughts? And she's the one that leaned in and was like, wait a minute, Mama Jane, you're a sanguine, right? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, going to a gym by yourself, working on weights by yourself, that's not fun. Go find a Zumba class
Mm-hmm.
with other people. And sure enough, that's, I don't know how long ago that was, 3.5 years ago. That's all it took.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go, it's one of those things like, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing my friends in the class,
Right.
or the instructor that, and so that's why motivations are so important to, again, like contributions, once you name them and then you can claim them and you can use this to fuel yourself to get the thing that you want to get done when it's not really like motivating.
Right. So motivation is the internal drive that moves you to act. It's the why you do what you do, not just what you choose, but actually fueling that choice. Like, Is many times when we have a thing to do, we think, oh, if I was just more disciplined or if I could just try harder. But what's missing is what's underneath the behavior, and those are the motivations. And if you don't understand your motivation, you'll constantly feel out of alignment because we'll be trying to force actions that don't match what's actually driving you. Just like Mama Jane, like it's not in your drive to go to the gym by yourself. Not mine either. Like I've never been a solo gym girl or a solo much of anything. But but once you start understanding your motivations, just like once you understand your temperaments, you know what you bring to the table, you know what you need to get yourself going. Um, but here's an important distinction. We're not just talking about default motivations. We're talking about learning to choose your motivations intentionally because growth happens when you align your motivations with truth.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And it's one of those things that when I'm working with clients and we're talking about a goal, we can have a goal all day long, but it's the because. And, for a long time, I was in direct sales, a lot of personal development people, and, they're always smart goals, right?
Hmm.
And I got to a point where I didn't like setting goals because of the time.
Right.
And I felt like a failure, right? But it wasn't until I started answering that question because, like, why do I want this thing? What is the motivation to even have this thing?
Right.
And that's so important. It really reveals to you your own inner self. Because, we could have the same goal, but we have different motivations to get that goal done.
Yes.
And that's going to really kind of change how we achieve the goal, how we tackle the goal.
Right. Just let's talk about, supporting a more healthy lifestyle. Just, and I'm not talking about losing weight. We're not going down that road, but you just want to incorporate more activity in your life. So, my husband is perfectly fine going on a walk by himself, going to the gym by himself, like doing like he replenishes that way. And it would be motivating, like, hey, I know I can have this hour to myself to go do this. That'd be great. Whereas my motivation to have more wellness would be like, oh my gosh, Mama Jane and I are gonna go walk around the park at this time. That would be more motivating to me. So same goal, right? We both want to get moving more, but how we're motivated to do it is different. To tell my husband we're going to be at the park with lots of friends and do this, he'd be like, have a great time. I'm staying here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you don't have the right motivation, then you can't meet your goals. And it's not because you don't want to or you're not trying hard enough, but you have to honor your God-given temperament with your God-given motivations.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. And, and then of course, excuse me, understanding this, then serving others and doing God's will, then we can slip into being motivated by the outcomes. Like, right, I need to do it this way, right? And that's just not the way it's going to be. Um, again, so the growth for the choleric motivation is shifting the motivation from control to purpose, right? Like, I need to get this done into what is God asking me to do here?
Mm-hmm.
That is a really beautiful question, but also understanding like cholerics have a desire to finish things, to
Complete the mission.
complete the mission, but also to expand the limits.
Right.
Sometimes they just want to do it to see if they can. It's like, why climb the mountain? Because I wanted to see if I could get up to the mountain.
Right.
And that is a really good motivation. And sometimes that motivation will sound crazy to somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
but that is the motivation of a cleric. And that's when we get to honor your temperament and your motivation. Like, this is the motivation you have, you know?
Right. Because like sanguines are motivated by connection, enjoyment, and being liked. We like relationships, we like experiences. And this makes a sanguine very relational. They bring warmth and energy. But the challenge in the motivation is that you can shift on how you feel in the moment. So instead of being motivated by commitment or a long-term vision, you're usually more motivated about the right now. Like, what are we doing right now? And so that can lead to inconsistency, like starting things that you don't finish or making overcommitting yourself. Like, oh, I think I can do this and this and this and this. And then
Yeah.
you're like, when you're in the moment, you're like, ooh, I can't do that. And I don't have enough hours.
Right, right.
So, you've got to, the growth for a sanguine is to, not just run with your emotions. You got to move from like, I feel like it to this is worth doing.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the key motivations that I've used as a sanguine is collaboration, recognizing that I have a desire to collaborate with others, to be working on a team. That completely changes the project.
Hmm.
Because if I have to go do it by myself, well, that's not fun at all,
Hmm.
right? But when I can collaborate and work as a team together, then it's more enjoyable. And so that is one of those motivations that I have used, especially, building this business, building this podcast. How do I collaborate with others? Who do I need to collaborate with?
Hmm.
And those are good because that's my desire to collaborate, and then the job gets done. But my motivation is collaboration, whereas the choleric's motivation is to accomplish the mission,
Right.
right? Yeah. So going into the melancholics motivations, again, they love excellence, right? They love correctness. They love that attention to detail, and they love meaning and purpose. And I have heard this, like I have a couple of children that are melancholic, and now that I look back, their frustration, I remember there were two in particular that I'm thinking of where they were in a high school class that they were required to take. And it was in their view because the teacher hadn't communicated the purpose and the meaning of taking this class, why it would benefit them.
Hmm.
They hated that class
Hmm.
because it was complete, quote unquote, pointless.
Right.
There was no motivation of there's a deeper meaning. And again, so understanding when melancholics need to have like this deeper purpose. So what is the purpose of accomplishing this thing, right?
Right. Or else they can get stuck in fear of getting it wrong. And so then they're like, well, if you're overanalyzing or you're delaying action because you want it to be so perfect, then, if you don't see purpose in it and you don't feel like it can get done well, then why would you do it at all?
Yeah, because then they go into the excellence, but excellence goes into perfection.
Overdrive. Yeah.
And then it has to be perfect. And sometimes it freezes them. Because
Hmm.
if I'm not doing it perfectly, then I'm not going to do it at all. Which then is like, but you can't become perfect unless you start,
Right.
right?
Yes. I mean, so growth, that kind of growth is perfection to progress from it has to be right to I can take the next step.
Yeah, exactly.
And now finally we have the phlegmatic. The phlegmatic is motivated by peace, comfort, and stability. She wants harmony, she wants calm and steadiness, and she brings consistency, patience, and presence. But the challenge is that her motivation can become avoiding discomfort. So instead of stepping into action, you might just stay where you're comfortable, like this right here, go along to get along kind of attitude. So the phlegmatic's growth could be moved from go along to get along, that comfort, to courage. Then, this feels easy to this is necessary.
Yeah, and that ease and that comfort can be that motivation
Hmm.
to bring the process, like we've
Right.
talked about before. Like phlegmatics love to have the process. And so when there's chaos or when like the sanguines like ping, 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 they're like,
Hmm.
whoa, whoa, whoa. But when we can slow down and say, this is easy, this is comfortable, then they can take that right step and the steadiness,
Right.
right? Which is so beautiful.
Well, and your natural motivation is the starting point. It's not the final driver necessarily. We just got to get started.
Yes, because motivation is motivar, like to move.
Hmm.
Right? And a lot of times the motivation words that we have are emotional words
Hmm.
because again, we've talked about this where emotion is energy in motion and it moves us to the thing that we desire
Hmm.
towards the good and avoiding the evil. And sometimes that's where we have to look at like, what is the perceived evil that we are trying to avoid? And really, that's actually might be the good, like you said, like the phlegmatic wants ease and comfort, and she's looking at something and this is going to be too hard. But when you break it down, you're like, oh, I can just take this next right step. That's easy.
Hmm. Because once you become aware of your motivations, you get the ability to choose differently and you can ask the questions, why am I doing this? What is the driving this decision? What is this? Is this aligned with my truth?
Yeah, and that's really the beautiful thing is that is it aligned with who I am so that I can be the best version of myself,
Hmm.
right? Can I be the saint that I'm called to be?
Right. And not by forcing behavior, but shifting what's underneath it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, naming and claiming, then we can aim it. So when we look at our motivations, and because I'm the sanguine, I like to look at all those motivations as kind of like variety of food in the pantry. Like, what am I
Hmm.
going to choose today? And again, a lot of times, like I've discovered, a lot of times my motivations are actually from my secondary, which was choleric.
Hmm.
One of the motivations for a cleric is needing to improve. And I love to improve, so I want to do it again. And I want to do it again, not for the grade or not to be the best or to be the first, but the simple motivation to improve. Like, oh, I did it better this time than I did last time.
Right. And I'm motivated by connections and also validation and feeling good. So that's why it gives me so much joy and so much energy, helping a mom feeling good about what they're doing. Like I have that relationship with them. They have a safe place to learn, whatever, how to breastfeed. And then you get to watch that come to fruition.
Yeah.
So I'm motivated to keep helping moms
It,
because,
encouragement.
encouragement, right?
Yeah, that's a great motivation. And when we recognize, like, oh, I'm motivated by encouragement, encouraging others and having them encourage me, then I'm going to find the things that fulfill that
Hmm.
motivation, which is
Hmm.
really awesome.
Yeah. So, when your motivations are aligned with the truth, your actions follow, and the gap between intention and action begins to close. And this is exactly the work we do inside our coaching program, Find Your Identity in Christ. We help you understand your temperament, your patterns, your motivations, and how to align them with who God created you to be.
Yeah, it's been beautiful. So come on in, go look at the show notes. The enrollment link is still there. And the temperament assessment is also still there if you haven't taken that assessment. And as Mama Vicki said, it's not a test, it's not
Hmm.
right or wrong. It just is simply an assessment of who you are at this moment.
Yes. And review, subscribe, all the things, ladies. Come on in and share this with your friends and write us a review. Tell us how you're doing. Come on over to the Facebook page and give us some feedback. And again, if you're ready to go deeper and you're ready, like, oh, I love all this stuff Mama Vicky and Mama Jane are saying, come on in to finding your identity in Christ and live in peace because we want to work with you and have us all do that.
Yes. And, again, liking and subscribing really moves the podcast up the algorithm of podcasts. And not only that, but when you subscribe, then the new edition for the next episode automatically pops into your feed and
Yes,
you'll be the first one to hear it.
that's right. That's
So,
right.
all right, Divas, we hope you liked this episode and we'd love to hear what your thoughts are about your motivations. God
Yes.
bless you. Divas, listen, if you're really enjoying this series about temperaments and breaking it down, we want to invite you to go to the show notes and click the link for the group coaching program. It has begun, but you're not too late. So you can just come on in and jump on in and join us and really delve into all of these aspects that we've been talking about. All right, we will see you next week.